The St. Louis Blues are undefeated. Let's end the season now. I'm playing, but let's talk about yesterday's game coming up here on Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And a happy Victory Wednesday, October 9th. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on Locked On Blues, the Blues are undefeated after defeating the Seattle Kraken in a great win because it was a comeback win. And what does that really mean for the Blues this season? We have the Sharks tomorrow. I am nervous, and I will talk about that. I also have clips of Nathan Walker, Jordan Kyrou, Phillip Broberg, and of course, Coach Bannister talking following the game throughout today's episode as well. So a busy episode talking a victory. Now, before I get into anything, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. What a win, okay? What a win for the Blues. Now, this was a game where I'm going to be very honest with you. I was a little concerned. You know, following that first period, the Blues had no shots on goal. The Kraken had 6. The top line, obviously, with our boy Robert Thomas, he did well on faceoffs. I believe he was 9 out of 11 on faceoffs, but overall, it just seemed slow, and it didn't seem like the pace that I was kind of expecting to see from the Blues, especially even their second line with Bushi. And here's the thing. I think once momentum builds, a lot can change in a game, and I think that's what we saw yesterday because let's be honest, we did not see a lot of momentum early on, and that is completely okay. But in the second period, oh man, a lot happened. So Nathan Walker was getting in with Vince Dunn. That is right. Then you had Alexei Torpachenko fighting. It just was a lot going on. However, what I will say is that it added some excitement due to the fact that there was literally no penalties in the first period. Now, 27 seconds into the first period, former Blue Vince Dunn scored the first goal of the season on the continental U.S. because there was the Devils and Sabres game in Czech, but he was able to get the Kraken on the board, and then the Kraken scored again a couple minutes later. So the Blues are now down 2-0. At this point, I'm like, oh, this may not be the game for the Blues because back-to-back goals that fast and with that much momentum, obviously the Kraken are at home, and the place was buzzing. It was going crazy, right? And that's just what I saw on TV. But luckily, the guy that I predicted to score, by the way, I just want to put that out there that I did predict this guy to score. His name is Jordan Kyrou. Some might call him Ruzy. He scored quite a beaut. Okay, listen. He had a beautiful power play goal, little backhanded action. Oh my goodness, it was beautiful. Obviously, the assists were Robert Thomas. So Thomas gets his first assist of the season, and Justin Folk. But it was a beaut. Okay. A couple minutes later, Phillip Broberg scores, and it was awesome because guess who was the secondary assist on that goal? Dylan bleeping Holloway. Offer sheets, we up, they down. And then also Justin Folk assisted him on that one. So Jay Falk already has 2 assists of the season. And then literally 20 seconds after Broberg's goal, Jordan Kyrou back in again. It was a nice little pickoff from Alexander Texier, little pickoff of Seattle. And then he was able to pass the puck to Kyrou. Kyrou whizzed down the ice and boom, gets it back in between the feet. So overall, it was a beautiful sequence of events. Third period, no goals. There was only one penalty, and that was on our boy, Captain Braden Shen. But the Blues stepped it up, and it was quite a game. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, hell, come on. I know you're excited. There are some things that we didn't really like that we saw, and I can understand that, but literally all 3 of those goals happened under 2 minutes, okay? It was 1 minute and 55 seconds. So the fact that this Blues team picked it up says something. I mean, our boy, we also have to talk about Jordan Binnington. 30 saves. He looked amazing, honestly. I know that, Seattle did score 2 goals. However, what I will say, Binnington just looks great as always. He's able to really have these reflex skills that are just so advanced. So I did enjoy it. Last season, by the way, Kyrou led the Blues with 31 goals, and the fact that he literally has 2 already, I'm like, that's kind of cool. Another thing I want to talk about is kind of with Seattle because I thought it was kind of cool, especially being a woman myself. Seattle's assistant coach, Jessica Campbell, became the first woman behind the bench as an assistant or an associate coach in NHL history. So I mean, listen, we can put the game aside for 1 second. I think that's pretty cool and paving the way, right? So, kind of like that. But the Blues overall, they had 13 shots on goal. And Grubauer, I mean, he had a good game. I mean, the goals that Ruzi put up were just such beauts, okay? Especially that little backhandy. So, I did enjoy that. So, the Blues, they're going to be at San Jose tomorrow, and I'm nervous. I will talk about that. However, I think it's important that we hear from some of the players. So I'm going to have Jordan Kyrou speak. He's not really here. But again, all these clips are from Blues PR. Again, all credit to Blues PR for all of these clips that I cut down of their post game. So here's Jordan Kyrou, and I react to that after this.
I think that first period we kind of started off a little slow. We're playing a little hesitant, not being aggressive on pucks, and kind of after Walks and Torpo and Faxa, they scrummed it up a little bit there, got the boys going a little bit, and we started playing our game. Yeah, it just gets you pumped up. First game of the year, it's excitement and it's exciting, and seeing the boys fight for you like that, it's awesome. So it just gets you pumped up.
And I think that's a very important thing that Jordan Kyrou said about how some of the guys, kind of got them going. And I think it's one of those things too where, momentum does build and it can build very quickly in hockey, right? You have a little bit of a scrum and then boom, the next thing you know, you're electric. So I like what he had to say. I mean, Jordan Kyrou is one of those players that I'm a huge fan of because, I mean, he was all smiling and buzzing after the game, and it wouldn't help my audio listeners of this podcast for me to put that clip in of him just smiling and being like, okay, come on, guys. But it is nice to see that confidence within him. He's one of those players, and I could talk about Kyrou forever, okay? He's one of those players that I feel like people don't give enough respect to, and he is such a capable player, lots of skill, and he does add a lot to this team. And I said this the whole time. He is a top 6 forward for a reason. He's able to score. He's able to make plays happen, and he's fast on the ice. He is everything that you want from a top 6 forward. So I was very impressed with Jordan Kyrou and all that he did in yesterday's game. Next up, we have to talk about the little Aussie himself, Nathan Walker, because he was involved in a little bit of I wouldn't say it was big fight, but a little bit of, roughing and a little bit of, boom, boom, boom. So here is Nathan Walker.
Yeah, definitely. We're still pretty calm. Obviously 2 quick goals like that can rattle you a bit, but, we just knew it was time to get to our game and do the little things right, and knew it was going to eventually pay off. I mean, there's a couple words said, but, we're all pros and grown men here. We know how to react, and, I think we definitely responded in the right way.
I love his accent, by the way, but I mean, it is true. I mean, when you have those goals, right, back to back to back, except the first 2, there is a sense of being overly excited and you have to kind of remain calm. I know I was overly excited. I was like, let's go. And I was buzzing. But he's right. They're professionals and this is what they had to do. They're down to nothing. Okay. You're now tied 2-2. That's pretty impressive. So I think that when you're tied 2-2, and I'll talk more about this coming up, you want to just maintain the momentum, maintain the calmness. So I was a big fan of that one. I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, you're going to hear from Phillip Broberg and, of course, Drew Bannister talking about the game. today's episode, I'm telling you, these are fun episodes, these victory episodes, because there's really, there is negative things, right, that I could pick apart. But for the most part, I'm pretty positive right now. The Blues statistically do really well against the Kraken. So I wasn't like concerned. I was concerned when they were down 2-0, but luckily they were able to manage their way out of that one. Time to talk to you about my friends over at Gametime. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live event even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching throughout thousands of tickets. One thing that I love about Gametime Picks is that they have the super deal, and it is the best deal out of all time. You know why it's the best deal out of all time? Because it's catered literally to your needs, okay? Do I need to say that again? It's curated to what you want, okay? You get the best seats. You get the best price. You get the best view because you can even see the view of your seat before you even buy that ticket. So you literally could look at this ticket and be like, well, I kind of wanted a little more to the left. Well, guess what? You can get that because you can see exactly where the seats are. So it is pretty dang cool if I do say so myself. I know I use it, so I can speak on that. So this is what you need to do, okay? Because you get the seat views, you get your lowest price guarantee, you get Gametime ticket coverage. What exactly is that? Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So that says something too, because they usually just want your money, but Gametime literally makes it so you were taken care of. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. The Blues came back after being down 2-0. And I know what you're thinking. Well, yeah, it happens. And I get it happens, but it was quite something because Seattle did score immediately in the second period with the 2 goals. And of course, it doesn't help that Vince Dunn was one of the goal scorers. However, one of the goals that the Blues scored yesterday was from Phillip Broberg. And this summer, we had the offer sheets, okay, where we put down, not me, obviously Doug Armstrong, put down double offer sheets on Dylan Holloway and Phillip Broberg of the Edmonton Oilers. And, there was all this conversation. Will these players pan out? Are they good enough? And this is what I have to say on that one. Dylan Holloway looked amazing during preseason, and Phillip Broberg yesterday scoring the way that he did. I think there's something really special between these two players, which I am personally excited about. And yeah, sure. Do we know if the offer sheets worked out yet or not? No. And I said that we won't know until December, right? We need more time to see how they play. And that's not me being negative on these players. It's me being very realistic that while that goal yesterday was nice and Holloway assisted, I did say Holloway was going to score yesterday, but an assist, I guess, is close enough, right? Because Jordan Kyrou scored twice, and I did predict him to score. But going back to the offer sheets, I think that this is something special. And if they continue to play this way, well, who's to say that it won't pan out? So here is Phillip Broberg following the win, and he talked a little bit about his friend Dylan Holloway. Take a listen.
No, it felt great. Had a nice screen in front of the net, so it was nice to see it go in for sure. Yeah, no, it was exciting that we scored, and obviously it was nice. Also, I believe screened the goalie as well, so no, it was fun, obviously.
So I love to hear that. I like that, I know that he sounds like he's talking monotone, but he was having fun. But it is a cool thing. So I was happy about that. Another thing that I want to point out about yesterday's game and why maybe the Blues were able to be a little bit more successful was because there was some line changes. Okay. So essentially, the first line going into the game was Thomas centering, Holloway to his left, and Kyrou to his right. Then it was Bush centering on the second line, Texier to the left, and Neighbors to the right. So it got switched. It ended up being in the second period on Thomas centering, Boosh to his left, Kyrou to his right. Then the second line, Holloway centering, Texier to his left, and Neighbors to his right. So I feel like it is important that those changes were made, and it was very necessary because, again, you're trying out new line combos that you didn't have last season. You have new players that you didn't have last season. And, this is what I like about Drew Bannister is that, hey, if something's not working, let's change it, let's switch it, and let's get it going right. I'm a big advocate on giving guys chances, and I do believe that. But Holloway's centering definitely kind of added some momentum to that second line. And something on Bushi or anything. I love Bushi, but I always saw Bushi as a winger, okay? And I know that they did play him at center last season, but sometimes you have to play guys where they're most comfortable at. Like Captain Braden Shen is a natural center to me. So in that whole conversation about him potentially not playing center, I got a little concerned. Now, listen, he is a captain and he plays on third line center. That's not a problem to me. I thought he looked fine yesterday. I mean, I don't think he stood out. I don't think he looked bad. I think he looked fine. But you need to remember that this is game 1 of 82. You're going to see some combos that don't work in the first month, maybe. And, preseason, while they do play 7 games, and I know it seems like a lot, you have to remember most of those games are the AHL and junior kids, trying to make the team or them just using them because nobody wants to play the final game of the preseason because it doesn't matter. But it's one of those things where I do believe that Drew Bannister had the right idea to flip them, and it worked out. And again, who knows? Like maybe next game something will be different. But what I do know is that Drew Bannister has impressed me a lot lately, and I'm becoming a little bit more of a Drew Bannister fan. Now, I've always liked Bannister, right? But I was a little biased because I miss Coach Berube, the Chief. However, Bannister talked post game yesterday, getting back on track, and I want you to hear some of the things that he said about how the game went in his eyes. Take a listen.
For the first, half of the game, we seemed hesitant. We weren't playing on our toes. Wasn't a lot of communication on the ice between line mates, between D partners. And we just seemed to be chasing the game a little bit too much. But, to be honest with you, just the life on the bench continued to be there, and just like guys pushing each other to get things going. And overturn goal, a little bit of a scrum, we get to a power play, we score right away off it. And then the next shift after that, it was like just a switch turn for us. We started forechecking, we were aggressive, our D were down on pucks, our forwards were reloading and backing up, and just seemed, from the second half on, we kind of took over.
Exactly. So he said it best. The momentum building with the little scruffle in the second. And definitely, that power play was helpful, and he said it best. But again, that first period, it wasn't pretty. I thought it was quite ugly. However, the Blues were able to pick things up, and that's why I'm not concerned. I think if it was like that the whole game, then I would have some concern in me, but they were able to adjust, which is something that they kind of struggled with last season. But this season, whole new season, so I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic. I'm going to talk about the Blues and those San Jose Sharks playing tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow's episode will be all about it. However, I do have some thoughts because I'm a little nervous. Okay, I will admit Haley T. Simon is a little nervous, and I need to talk this out because I cannot do an episode all positive. I need to add some negativity. No, I'm playing, but I kind of do. All right, but I want to talk to you about my friends over at FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Now, I love FanDuel. You know how much I love FanDuel. I'm always on FanDuel. And tomorrow night is football night. Now, you're going to be watching the Blues, obviously, because The game that they're playing, the 49ers and Seahawks, are going to be actually during the Blues game. But I had an idea because with FanDuel, it lets you place your bet as the game is going on. So let's just say it's intermission between the second and third period. Go check out the game and place a bet. Entertain yourself during intermission. I know I am somebody that likes to flip back and forth during like intermissions. That's just how I am. So use that to your advantage with FanDuel because I am telling you, there is no better place to bet than FanDuel.com. Again, code Locked On NHL. I'm not panicking. However, I am a little nervous about the Sharks and the Blues because oh man, the record against the Blues and the Sharks. Listen, a time as old as tale. But no, like I get a little nervous about these two teams. And it's not because I think the Sharks are this great team. It's not. And I'm not trying to put down San Jose in any way. Last year, last season, the Blues went 0-2-1 versus the Sharks. 0-2-1. You might be wondering, Hale, was it close? Not really. So the first time the Blues played the Sharks, they were at San Jose, and it was middle of November, I want to say, and they lost 1-5. So like that's like, that's kind of bad. And then they're at home and they lost 0-4. So yeah, they got shut out by the San Jose Sharks. Brutal. And then in April they lost in OT 2-3. But yeah, I'm sure I'm not having a good time. And San Jose, listen, I know I'll talk about the hand pass and, I'll go back to that cup run that we had where we actually won the Stanley Cup. Boom. But I do get a little bit nervous when it comes to San Jose. They're like the kryptonite to me. I don't know why. And anytime I hear the SAP Center, I just panic and I'm like, uh, but the thing is, I think this Blues team is a lot better of a team than we had last season. But it is funny though how there's always those teams, despite maybe them not having the best talent, they somehow, play good hockey, right? It's weird, but it's also weird too that this is gonna be the Blues' second game of the season, and this is the Sharks' first game of the season. And there's other teams that haven't played that will be playing Friday. It's so weird. But again, when you look at the Sharks, you have to think of a couple players, right? And I was at the draft, and obviously I was at the draft. I mean, that my whole personality trait. I was at the draft, and there's this one player. His name's Macklin Celebrini. I don't know if you know him or not. The first overall draft pick, and during his like presser at the draft, I was literally like right next to him. I don't know how that even happened. I kind of just like stumbled upon it and I'm like, well, this is kind of cool. So I'm not going to leave. However, I've seen videos. I have friends that are Sharks reporters. Okay. Not just JD that does a great job for Locked On Sharks. So I saw the draft, but I have a friend named Max that does stuff with the Sharks. I know a lot of people that are very involved with San Jose. So I've been seeing all these videos out of, training camp. And yeah, he looks good. There is no denying that whatsoever. Does that make me nervous for a game like tomorrow? Not really, because despite how good you look in training camp or preseason, there's a different level that you have to be when it comes to the regular season. And I feel like the Blues just have too much talent to let him skate all over. But who knows? I could be wrong. Honestly, like you just don't know. But I had to bring that up because I feel like a lot of people will have their eyes on him because it's his first game. And then they also have Will Smith, who is another prospect that I really like. So I'm a little upset about that. They have a lot of Smiths. They also have Giovanni Smith. I believe so. They have a lot of Smiths. Obviously, William Eklund. They have Barclay Goodrow. They have a lot of young talent. I mean, they also have Logan Couture. So I mean, but however, yeah, the Sharks are. Oh, they have Cody Ceci. I always forget that they have Cody Ceci. Like he's one of those players. Like he's just been in the league for quite a bit. That I'm always like, oh yeah, Cody Ceci. And then of course they have Mackenzie Blackwood in net, which is insane to me for a whole nother reason. So anyways, per Drew Bannister, the Blues plan to use the same 12 forwards in the game. That was about yesterday before the game. So do I think the Blues are going to add Zach Duke tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I don't. Maybe replace him with Matthew Joseph. Maybe put Duke instead of Joseph. I'm just putting out ideas, but we'll see. But I do have a better feeling about this season against the Sharks. It does make me though. I know I said nervous, but I mean, how can you not be, right? It's one of those situations where you just did not play well last season. By the way, after they play San Jose, the Blues then will be playing the VGK on Friday the 11th. So they had Seattle yesterday, Sharks tomorrow, then they had the VGK on Friday, and then on Tuesday will be their home opener against the Minnesota Wild, and then they host the Islanders, then they host the Hurricanes, they go host the Jets. So they have a 4-game homestand before going on the road to the Maple Leafs, the Canadiens, the Senators, and the Philadelphia Flyers. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, wait, that's October 30th. Wait, is it? No, it's the 31st. It's Halloween. Wait, who will be there getting live player interviews that day? Who will be there in person? Oh, yeah, me. So I cannot wait to see the boys again. All right, I will talk to you tomorrow. And like always, have a happy Victory Wednesday. And let's go Blues.